Well, it's Friday, and we're waiting for a cat to make a decision.
Oh, here's your watch.
What's it going to be?
Whose lap? Mine is the more comfortable lap.
Everything stops for the cat. Everything stops for the cat. She doesn't even notice. Good God, you're dirty.
She's so dirty, she's brown.
What's the point, Smackums? Well, folks, it's Friday. I don't have a lot to say. It's windy. I finally hung my brooms up in the garage, and that's good. Right next to the dustpan, so it's all reaching distance. I did get the fenders off my MG. Mm-hmm. I didn't do it last Saturday or the Saturday after. I wasn't able.
Snowy last Saturday.
Well, but I could have accomplished it without the door being open. But it was a real pain in the butt. But even with the door open, I have to tell you, there's a lot more stuff to hold those things on than I expected. I thought it was going to be, there are a lot of bolts, but I got it off. Both fenders are off, bumpers off, and now I'm going to start, I guess, pulling trim. I need to pull all the few fixtures in the inside there left, like the dash and the inside of the doors liner. I have to get a cherry picker. Or it's the thing to lift the engine out.
Oh, God, I was like, you want to go get it to treat you?
No, my brain keeps saying there's got to be some way. There's got to be some way that I don't have to, rebuild the engine. Maybe the engine's going to be good. Literally every single thing I've looked at in this car was bad. All of it. So I don't think the engine will have escaped that fate. But, we'll see. I'm working my way towards the precipice. Anyway, I hope your week has been good, and I thank you for joining us today on a Friday. We always appreciate you coming and checking it out. I don't think we've thanked you for watching recently.
It's true. Thank you. Sorry, you just made me think of the children's book, the thank you book, and anyway.
Okay, well, let's do wrist check.
Another wobbly wrist check.
I will do my best.
Yes. Okay, so I am wearing this Zodiac that he put together. I've been wearing it for about a week.
Yeah, it's this one went out, and now it's come back, which is fine, especially considering that actually I missed it, but it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. So we've been testing it for so much. She just started wearing it. Mm-hmm. It's a great watch. The movement is beautiful. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm gonna have to. Oh, can you?
Oh goodness, I'm a shaky person.
Well, I'll do. How about this? Here, give me this. Sorry, folks. I'll trim that out. There is what I'm wearing. This
size is actually more you than the giant chunky diver watches.
Yeah, my tastes have really been getting to smaller size watches. I really hang between 36 and like 39, 40, even 40s starting to feel a little big for me. These are really cool. These movements were really nice quality. They've got a Swiss style winding thing, so the movements, the stack is actually not that high. They're heavily jeweled. I think this one's 27 jewels. The main model is 30. But they're really cool. That's the correct original bracelet. Sort of this slab-sided thing. They're just really pretty. The only thing that I wish it had was hacking.
Oh.
Doesn't have hacking.
Okay.
If it had hacking, I'd be delighted. Some people might, sort of look at it funny because it's relatively slow. It's 18,000 BPH. But they're just so steady and graceful, and they just chug along, and they've got a lot of they can be extremely accurate. This one's accurate to a few seconds a day. I just need to actually, and if I adjusted it again, I'd probably get it better than that. Underrated movement, absolutely underrated movement, and watches absolutely worth looking at. I mean, for people who are talking about Grand Seiko and grammar of design and all this stuff, the 8300s, they're definitely worth looking into. Okay. Believe it or not, still no decision.
Nope.
Hasn't figured it out yet.
Nope.
Well, let's go for it. Do we have? I know I did the questions, but Did it really seem like we had a lot?
No, I think it's average.
Okay, well, that's good.
Okay, so. Sorry. Okay, first question is about the Seiko 7002 7001 JDM restoration from Brian B4308. That was the most legendary on the fly. I thought we'd answered this one before.
Well, no, because he wrote me back with a question. And I wanted to put the original question in there so everybody had the context.
Oh, okay. Anytime I've adjusted the beat error, it's changed the speed and vice versa. It's kind of a juggling act unless I'm doing something horribly wrong. By the way, how are you adjusting the beat error? Is it twisting that little screw or moving the lever it sits on?
It's by moving the lever that it sits on is the way that it works. You're correct in that when you move beat error, you're changing the effective length of the hairspring. If the hairspring's longer, the balance is going to move more slowly. If the hairspring's tighter, it's going to go more quickly, just like the ice dancer spinning. So if like I'm going, I mean, if I'm usually the way that I attack any balance is when it comes out, I zero the beat error, and I don't worry about fast or slow until I get the beat error, unless it's really gaining or really dropping. So what I'll do is I'll just get the beat error as clean as possible and then adjust the accuracy. Because again, if you're adjusting both things at the same time, you're going to be chasing a moving target. So you do one thing and then you do the next thing. The balance is the beat error is adjusted by that little arm. The little screw holds the stud in place. It's super, super crazy easy to destroy a balance. Like, it's really easy. I have done it recently. I would be super careful trying to fiddle around and trying to adjust your accuracy. If you have a time grapher, you can do it. You have got to be just like super, super careful. And if you haven't done this one before, it's just it isn't something to dive into. I'm not claiming that. I'm not claiming that. I mean, don't be like I did when I started and I just jumped into it. I made some mistakes, so don't make my mistakes.
Okay. Okay, so from Mail Call 188. From Biff Tannen BTTF. Question for the next mail call about the 6139 amplitude. Is it normal for the amplitude to jump 30 plus points while the chronograph is engaged versus reset to 0? I always thought it was the opposite. Thanks, guys.
Actually, it's neither. If it's properly serviced to 6139 or 6138, there should be basically no change whatsoever in the amplitude. You have pluses and minuses in terms of power in both things. I mean, when the whole chronograph wheel is turning, when the chronograph is running, you have the additional drag of where it's gonna have to push over the minute counter hand. But I mean, that's only one little place. And if you have the chronograph stopped, that fourth wheel section is spinning, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. There shouldn't be a difference. I used to see them with real big differences way back in the day, but it would often be things like, you know that it's going to be the chronograph wheel, so it's going to be like either the operating lever, that kind of stuff, they're in the wrong place because you can adjust where those are. You could be getting a real problem because the clearance on the jewel in the chronograph bridge is incorrect. It might be having too much slop. It might be dragging because it's not disengaging the clutch enough, and so that thing might be dragging. It might be that the watch literally just needs to be serviced. If the chronograph wheel isn't lubricated properly, and you got to get lube in between the pinion and the pinion of the fourth wheel, it's like a ring, and you got the shaft that goes through it, and you have to get oil not only down but side to side. And so to do that, you have to just ever so slightly you compress it, and then you can feed oil in, and it'll drop in. It's not tough. Most of the things that are problematic in watch work comes down to being able to use the least amount of correct pressure. So, like, things start turning bad when you start trying to really hold stuff. You've got to be able to just put on just the perfect amount to hold it and move it, but not deform the thing, whatever it is. And it's tough. It just takes time and learning to do it, but you just take that thing and you pop it down and get the oil in, and that should be good. So you've got a number of things to check. First thing, though, has the watch been serviced? If so, how long ago? But no, that amplitude jump is that's indicates there's an issue.
Okay. Mail call 189. Bruce Barlow 6604. Spencer, the NG needs to be red, and very surprised you got $300 for a neon. You would usually pay someone to take one away. Hey, come on.
That's that. The thing is that one of my superpowers, but I think it also it's one of the things that put me in Slytherin. Is I've got a lot of pups. If I believe in something, I'm a pretty good advocate. It makes me a pretty good salesman. But I talked that guy into buying it. But I was 100% honest with him. I'm like that. The head's blown on this thing, and he was testing it out and trying to drive it back and forth, and it was smoking like a bastard. The white smoke because you've got coolant getting into and intermixing with the oil. But he bought the damn thing.
I know. I was like, what?
I was able to sell that old Ford 150 truck we had, and that thing, remember that? Oh, and that thing had some kind of internal electrical failure in the engine that meant it was intermittently running on 7 cylinders, but it wasn't something you could just fix. It was something.
He drove it up to Wyoming.
Yeah, we sold it to this guy, and I'm like, this thing's it's not going to pass emissions. It'll run. It ran pretty good actually at highway speeds. And he was like, I'm taking it to Wyoming. I don't care. And I got $800 for that.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Okay. Ayoy Boothayana. Omega Speedmaster Mark IV, please.
Oh yeah, I wanted to he asked about, showing more Swiss watches. And so I'll put in a little segment here about should I put in a segment, or maybe I should make a separate little video?
Make a separate little video.
I'll make a separate little video just on the Speedmaster Mark IV.
Cool. Carlos Paggi. I just haven't been looking at my watches, said him. I totally get you there. I sometimes forget what I have and why I have it. I'm going to dig them all out over the weekend, projects and repairs too, and I'm really looking forward to a few of those, oh, crikey, I love this one moments. I think it's important to stay connected. Thanks, guys. Ace Vid.
Yeah, the problem is my watch box doesn't have a home. There's no place that I get to see it all the time because of a whole bunch of reasons about my watch shelves not working anywhere. How we like the house, like the rooms are set up the way I want them, the way that they look good and the way that works for Sabrina. But it means that there's no slot for my watch shelves. So my watch box basically travel with me through the day.
He walks around with it.
But I don't. But I haven't really been looking at them. I don't know. I've been really head down recently. Oh well, just like this. So just focusing on my work because of all this family crap. Anyway, no, I want to look more at my watches. I have been getting into. I figured that the cure might be to get some new watches. I'm not going to buy any new watches, so why don't I make some? And so I've been getting myself into other areas of Seiko's work that I haven't looked at before. And for those who haven't seen these videos, these 8306s, these OG cocktail times. This one was made in May 1966, I think. Let's see if I got that right. No, I didn't. This is a different, that must be the other one. This is July 68. But, so I've really been getting into these after having these for a long time. I've been having to come up with some techniques on these dials. But yeah, so the answer is more watches.
More watches?
But not buying more watches. That's why I built that chronograph out of parts. Got to do something different.
Project Watch, the Valjoux 7733 chronograph. from Ryan Walters. I love it. Great sub hand choice, buddy. I wonder if a set of blued hour, minute, and second hands would look better and give better contrast. By the way, my accountant just pulled Slaughterhouse 5 from the shelves for a review, but I'm pretty sure the fix is in and it will be banned. Wow.
They're going to ban Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. Yeah, you want to talk about a race to the bottom.
Yeah. Anyway.
What a stupid thing to do, because it's unconstitutional. It's blatantly unconstitutional. So it's a waste of time. It's a waste of everybody's time. It's virtue signaling to gain power from people that are less informed on these subjects than they should be. And the whole thing's going to be overturned. It's a waste of money. The only people who are going to make out of it are the politicians who can dig up some power out of it because they're pushing this nonsense, and the lawyers who will be paid to figure it all out. None of it needed to happen. It's absolute stupidity, and in the fullness of time, or I suspect the shortness of time, it will have been utterly meaningless. No one would have cared, and it was literally for nothing.
Yeah, it was wild. I was watching the video from 2004 of Jon Stewart on Crossfire.
Yeah, he went to Tucker Carlson's.
Whatever. And then I was like reading the bottom, and I know that I'm now old and there's lots of youthful people in the world that watch this because they're like in their 20s for some reason, and it was all about like bioterrorism on the scroll thing on the bottom.
Right, so you're looking at basically the Chiron feed.
Yes, of 2004.
And all the things that people are freaking out about.
That don't matter.
No, none of it matters.
No. They were going to set off anthrax.
Everybody's forgotten.
City.
Everybody's forgotten. None of that crap matters.
Here's your funniness. So I'm from New York, not New York City. Whatever. Everybody's freaking out after 9/11. My aunt decided that she could only drink bottled water. Like, that's it. The water was going to be poisoned. Yes, that was Patty. She would only have bottled water because she was convinced that the terrorists, the almighty terrorists, were, going to kill everybody.
And did she have any evidence for this?
No.
Did she, that's a crazy thing. It's like, I'm not going to start getting into, did I tell you kids about the 60s? But in any case, I would rather that our money and time and effort go into making our society better, rather than lining the pockets of cruel, selfish politicians and lawyers doing what lawyers do. Okay, that's enough editorializing today. That's about it. Go for it.
I can continue?
Yeah, sorry.
The 7828703A battery change from Shenyino163. Hello, Spencer. Love your channel. I've been looking for a green movement space for my Seiko Arnie H558. Do you sell them or have a spare part for sale? Thank you.
No, I don't sell them. Those parts have been discontinued for a really, really long time. But Adrian Selleck of Vintage Time Australia has a substitute that he makes, and it works just fine. So look up Vintage Time Australia, and I believe they're on his site.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to answer Ryan on his actual question.
Oh, whoa! Do you
Ryan,
remember?
yes, I do.
Okay.
I read your comment about putting blued hands on the watch project that Chronograph built. It's not a bad idea. I have a lot of like turn of the last century and maybe up to the war blued hands, like the original sets you could buy. Get your set of replacement hands. You get these things, it's nuts. These days you'd get like a little plastic bag with your stuff in it. These things are like in handmade wooden boxes that are covered with leatherette, and they have velvet on the inside.
Wow.
For basically what's...
When is this from?
I'd have to say it's probably maybe 1920s. It's incredible. And it was for something that was essentially considered disposable.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'll check in there. I think I'll try it out because I've got to go in there anyway. So.
The Dynie 5246 25 jewel high beat from My Watch Reviews. The difference in part numbers is most likely because the movements are of different jewel counts, so as a result, pivot heights will be different.
Yeah, no, I know that. Because yeah, when you get a wheel in one model that has just regular jewels versus one that has diaffix, the tips of the pinions are different. For diaffix, they're actually flattened, so they're a tiny bit shorter, and so you can't swap them back and forth. Seiko did give multiple part numbers to the same part more than once. It wasn't real common, but they did it. I'm trying to think of an excellent example right now. Oh, well, of course, 357615.
Okay.
It's exactly the same as 657. No, 657617. 2 digits apart. They're described completely differently. They're for related watch models. They're literally the same piece.
Wow.
I can't think of any other examples but it happens. I see it, because especially when Seiko was changing up their whole numbering system in the mid-late 60s, a lot of stuff got mixed up.
Okay, about my Brad Pitt watch.
Indeed.
From J Marind1. Hello and congratulations for the channel. I don't want to bother you, but I have a question that I'm sure you can answer. I am in the middle of restoring my Citizen bullhead following your instructions.
Instructions?
And I'm in the part of the mainspring and the barrel. I need to know what type of strapping I need for this spring and this barrel. I searched the internet, but I can't figure it out. Could you solve my doubt? Or even, is it possible to clean the mainspring and barrel without removing the mainspring? Thank you very much, and congrats for the channel.
Well, thank you for the congratulations. We probably should do more with it. I actually had somebody, it wasn't recently, and they were like, man, it's amazing, that you could take it off like a rocket, why aren't you doing all this stuff with the channel in the business? And I don't think I could really bring myself to have the heart to explain to the person that everything's fine the way it is, that we don't want to be known or don't want to, I made a few more videos last month and we made like a little bit more money on it. That's something, but I don't know. That's why we need to we're at this point where you can only get so big with the level of commitment that we have to doing this and our ability. We would need to add people to get us over the hump.
I don't want to do that much work.
I don't want to do that much work either, and I don't want to be bothered by people. Hell, we'd have to start having meetings.
We didn't need meetings.
I'd have to start up. We'd have to start thinking about corporate dress codes, and you'd have to get lawyers, and then you'd have to get HR, and the next thing you know, I'm back at the front counter making copies. I'm joking. But anyway, the gentleman's question. I'm not quite sure what you mean by strapping. If you mean the bridle that's at the end of the spring, which grips the inside of the mainspring barrel, it's attached to the mainspring. You've got to take it apart to get it cleaned. You can put it in one dip or something else like that, or run it through your cleaner. It's still going to have some old lubricant under there. Was there something preventing you from removing the mainspring? That's the only thing. It's typical practice to go and get that one out of there and do it. But if you have any more or additional information, just put it down in the comments on this video. And I asked you a question last time, and I'll do some poking, but I'd like to know what you find and what the situation is.
I'm just marveling at how the
lensing?
Yeah, the lensing.
Yeah, I'm looking at myself here. I'm pretty close, and I was like, hey, look at that. I look pretty good. Don't I normally look like I'm, been eating sausages all weekend? But no, I look pretty good. So it has this crazy lensing problem. You get back, the further back you get, the bigger your head gets. Look at that. See? There I am.
No, the smaller your head gets.
No, it just makes us look bigger.
Okay.
Maybe it's a proportional thing.
Seiko Super 6105 Slim Case.
Oh, that's the video, yeah.
From Biff Tannen BTTF. Question for the next mail call.
He got in too.
I know. About 6139 amplitude. Is it...
Oh, wait, no, that's the same question. I already answered it.
You already did?
Oh, yeah. No, we talked about it.
You put it twice?
I did put it in twice. That's my fault.
I just proved that I only, half listen. When I got to the 30 plus points, then I would have remembered.
Yeah.
Okay, Seiko's OG cocktail time 8306-1000 from Steve Wilkinson 7200. Hi Spencer, really enjoyed this chat and I totally agree with you regarding the cool old Seikos like these. I have a cool old 6206-8010 marked Seiko-matic with the day on the left and date on the right. It's a pain to set because the day will not quick set, but the date will. That's annoying. That's me saying that's annoying. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be, but I thought I read somewhere that these models had an issue with something breaking that makes it act this way. Thanks again for the fun and interesting videos.
Yeah, there's you got two storylines conflated there, which believe me is easy to do because this stuff is ridiculous. The way you're talking that the 6200 series will only click the day, there's no quick set for the day. The official instructions is you just rock it back and forth across midnight. 6200 is equipped specifically to do that. It says it in the manual. What you don't want to do, that's just the method for a single language day and date wheel that doesn't have a quick set. You don't want to try to set the day and the date aside from that when the watch is displaying between 9 p.m. and like 3 a.m. But rocking back and forth for the day, that's fine. But if it's, as long as it's like daytime, the way you're doing it, we should be fine. There was a second part he was asking about.
It's that one there. Hello, beautiful. Who's a pretty cute?
Okay, no, I answered his question. Oh, wait, but I was going to talk about the other thing you asked about is, there's something about the watch that can break that makes it so you can't do it. That's the other side. That's the 5600 series. And they have, it's called a setting lever with wheel. And the wheel with the teeth that would turn the day and the date one way or the other. It's a 4-tined gear made of sort of a grayish plastic, and it's one of the few times that Seiko had a flat-out materials failure. I've never seen anything like it, and I've only seen it on these things. The plastic shrinks over time, and then it splits, and then it's done. I have 6 or 7 of them that are brand new in the package, made from back in the day. They're all bad. So that's what's up with that. But even those can be repaired. Again, Adrian Selleck, Vintage Time Australia, he sells a new reproduction of those. He also has the one for the 5619 GMT, which uses 8-tine. But he's got that. He's got both. He's got both of them.
From CMB8589. I collected a half dozen of these. Yes, they came in 3 sizes and 3 dial colors.
Thank you.
The blue silver has to be the nicest. Been tempted to relume one since I saw you did a while back.
Yeah, I want to again insert a picture of this watch, because this is the one watch that I'm aware of where Seiko did underhand loom. Underglow loom. So the loom is there. It's just on the bottom of the hand. You can't see it during the day. But then you power the heck out of this thing. And this one has new loom, so it glows for the night, basically. And then you see the light shadow of the hand reflecting off the dial. I'll put in a picture here. It's a really, really cool effect. And I'm glad that I started looking at these and I started thinking about that underloom. And I was like, why can't we do that? Why doesn't it work? Why did Seiko abandon it? And I was like, well, that was their old loom, and that stuff didn't glow for very long. And you have to have a really solid glow to put out enough light that you can see the light shadow of the hand as it moves. But I tried it because I've got a lot of models of watches that are JDM like this. 8346. I'm so sorry, but it's a JDM model. So JDM models are almost never loomed, which bugs the hell out of me because I want to wear my watches and I want the extra function of having them have their glowiness. So
Their glowiness?
their glowiness. So at night, it's an additional function. I can read them at night. So I tried it. I tried it on this watch and it works great. That is actually, you can see the loom. I did loom the outside of the markers because there was a little shelf there that was basically perfect for that. It probably those markers on it in another watch are loomed, but then I underloomed this and it's just magnificent. I'm just so glad that I thought to try it because modern looms are good enough that you don't have to have huge blobby chunks of loom to make a decent glow. I underloomed the sweep seconds hand. See how thin that hand is, and you can see it. You can see it at night. And the amount of loom on the underneath of that hand is it's very 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 thin. Doesn't seem to affect the timekeeping at all, and I think it's a really neat kind of like hidden cool thing, you know. If you're at the bar and you see somebody and you think they're interesting and you go talk to them, you can get them back home by telling them about your underloom watch.
And also, I was texting Sadie because our rice cooker's finally dying, and I'm the saddest person ever.
That is too bad. That really is upsetting. It was the last thing we bought. This is college town. There was there were only, especially when I was a kid, there weren't many, ethnic places in town at all for, buying things. So, like if you wanted any kind of international something to cook with, good luck, except for Japan. There was a family that came in. I believe the guy who came was one of the early professors. But anyway, they started up basically like a little teeny tiny Japanese import thing into like a house. But it was cool. It was jammed, and they had all this wonderful stuff, and it was straight from Japan. We bought a rice cooker there.
And
What year?
I think Sadie was like 4.
That's too bad.
Yep. And yeah, that store doesn't exist anymore.
That was the point. That was the point. That was the last thing we bought. We didn't realize they were going to go out of business. We're like, we got to go back there and see what other stuff they have. Gone.
Because everything, the value of buildings and whatnot here have gone up, and now it's yet another tattoo shop.
Really? Oh gosh. Thank goodness. I didn't think Fort Collins had enough tattoo shops. What they need is more vape places.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it should be, downtown should be tattoo vape, ice cream, tattoo vape.
Okay, let's look at some 6105s and a 6217. Lee Harrison Photos 4175. I bought a 62 MAS after watching your videos. Your enthusiasm is contagious. You will end up costing me a fortune.
Well,
shame on you.
Well, I tell you, it's a curse and a blessing. I don't mean to advocate well for the things that I enjoy, but that's the way that it goes. At least you picked a great model. You picked a great model to start with, because they're only going up in value, and they're so unique, and they're beautiful. They're keepers. So I mean, that's good. I mean, if there's going to be if you're thinking about adding something else super cool, this is probably the end of the time where you're going to be able to buy a 6105 slim case for so much less than a Willard. I've got a real feeling that they're gonna take off. I've just been waiting for it to happen. I've been thinking that it's something that's overdue to happen. So that's the next one I would look at. I would step away from Willards. There's too many bad ones. There are too many of them on there. It's just, I would put that to one side and look for a good 6105 8000.
Okay, from Barnes Taxi. Loved this video. Would you ever consider making a video tour of your workshop? No, because it's where my washer and my dryer is, and all of my pantry. You want to see all my cans of beans?
When Sebastian came along, I vacated my office. I used to have an office, like one of the bedrooms. Now it's Sebastian, so I'm camping out literally in the laundry room. I've been, how long? Well, Sebastian's 6, so I've been in there for 6 something odd years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and also it's just everything in our life is.
No, it's not.
I'm thinking about the stuff on the walls.
What about that?
I have all the stuff on the walls.
So what?
In the basement around my shop is all of my crap. And because I come from a long line of hoarders who refuse to get rid of stuff over many generations. So you would walk into my grandparents' house and it was like every inch of the walls was covered with like, Asian antiques, but everything was junky and dirty and kind of broken.
I saw a picture though of the pictures on the wall, and it was like picture, 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 picture. It was crazy.
Picture, 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 painting, picture, a chest, another picture, a weird bird thing. Like it's like somebody had an explosion. Somebody had an explosion in an antique store, and it would just stuck everything to the walls. So that's kind of what the basement looks like because I have a lot of that stuff, and it's not ready for prime time. Besides, it'd actually be kind of boring. It really would. Mm-hmm. My restoration videos show pretty much everything that's important that I can think of. So I think we're pretty okay. But thank you for asking.
I don't think they need to see our water heater.
No, I don't think so.
From Hainsey, I love the 6309 handset on that 6105.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's the one I remember. I got it on eBay, 6105 Willard. But it had a service handset on it, which is why nobody was buying it. Mm-hmm. But it was a genuine Seiko service handset put on during a Seiko servicing. And I was like, that's awesome. And when I got it, I'm like, this is the answer as to why those stick hands on the big 6105s look a little like they're being drowned out by the big case. I still believe that the 6105 8110s were going to have the 6309 handset because everything works together. All the shapes and the geometry, and it all fits together perfectly. They complement each other. They work with each other. Their placement makes sense. But for some reason, maybe they didn't do that. I don't know that this is true, but I like mine. And because it's Seiko service, I don't count it as a mod. It came back from Seiko with those parts. There you go.
That's it.
Oh.
Sorry.
No. There's nothing to be sorry about. That's fine.
Okay.
We got to get stuff going.
Yeah, I have to get tortillas out of the freezer for Sadie, who's making burritos. But the rice cooker died, so she has to make it on top of the stove. And I've never been able to. It's brown rice. I like brown rice.
You first.
No, what do you have to say?
I was just going to put in a plug for the induction stove.
Oh.
So here's the thing. It turns out that we used to have a gas stove, right? Because gas is the way to go. What I didn't know is that gas stoves are the only internal appliance inside a house appliance that is not required to be vented. And it really should be because it kicks out more CO2 than I think. I don't
remember what
it's
said.
Ridiculous. And ours was leaking. It was leaking gas for a really long time. And it was the air in the house was oppressive. So I was like, this thing, I tried to fix it a couple times. And I was like, this thing's dead. It's ridiculous. And so there's a rebate program if you go get a new green thing. And we're like, okay, because you found induction ovens. Mm-hmm. So tell us all about induction ovens.
Well, I don't know. I like that it has a flat surface, and I don't know how it works. It works really fast. I know that.
It works the same way as a Seiko kinetic charger, like a shop kinetic charger, or like a wireless phone charger. Mm-hmm. Same thing. You send up basically an electrical field, and it creates current. So what an induction range and stove does, it's really cool. It's just this black glass thing, and it's got some circles on it where you put your stuff. The glass doesn't ever get hot. The pan that you put on there is the cooking surface and the heat source.
It's really cool.
It's really cool. And you turn on the fire, right? And boom, you have to wait for the water to heat up or whatever the heck. This is like instant. You turn it on to, boop, you put it wherever it is, and it just gets there. So if you want to drop the temperature, you drop it a click, you see the change almost instantly. And it's just awesome. Also, oven part is really, really heavily insulated. So the heat doesn't even get out. The old gas oven used to be like, it was like being, in the heater in the basement.
Yeah, no,
with dead-
seriously, it was like, it would raise the temperature like 15
15, 20
Fahrenheit.
degrees easy upstairs. It was gnarly. This thing, you can stand right next to it and you can feel that it's a little warmer around there, but that's it.
Yeah, we kept getting gas stoves because, that's the best way to cook. And well, what if the power goes out? I told him, I think the power has gone out the entire time I've been in Fort Collins for maybe half an hour at the combined time.
Yeah, and we just don't lose it a lot. And then when we got it swapped out, like the house felt like different.
Yeah, it felt clean. Like I could breathe. So we were killing ourselves.
We were killing ourselves. But so it's just, it's pretty fun. So if you're looking into that stuff, I strongly recommend it.
No, we got a Samsung something.
Yeah. Oh, and it's got an app. You can control it with your phone.
So why don't I look and see if it has? Which it should.
I'm just pleased with it. Also, I tend to clean the kitchen at night. That's kind of like my thing. And so the top is just a solid piece of glass. Man, you can wipe it down like nothing. It's just also, it's got a big high temperature self-cleaning thing. And I don't know, basically the gas stove was just a piece of crap. And they're just not healthy. They're not safe. They pump a lot of CO2 into the house and they're not safe. So my recommendation is to look at those induction things.
I have no idea how to find out which one we have. I don't know what Samsung got at Lowe's.
But it's good. I think the only adjustment I've had to make is that when I make omelets, a lot of omelets, is that it doesn't, because you don't have the fire, you're not getting that kind of toasty caramelization. So what I've had to do is add a little bit of butter and sugar, just a little bit, to kind of get it to caramel just a little bit, and that's actually worked really well. Was there anything else?
No, we're just talking now.
Cool. Well, it's Friday. I've got to go back in and I have to look at this dial.
I have to get tortillas out of the freezer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we're gonna go.
We're gonna go. Okay. Thank you, folks. And sorry, I'm sitting here thinking about tarnish. I gotta go. I gotta cure the tarnish. I gotta figure it out. What's her problem?
I don't
Is she her door's not blocked, is it?
No.
Can she get to it?
Yes.
Then what's she complaining about?
She's a cat.
Oh my Lord. Okay, I'll see you. Thank you.